Hi everyone, John here. Just want to do a Covid-19 update for Melbourne, Victoria. And before I start, I just wanted, as you notice, I've got my hair cut finally. So at least some of the shops that were open was hairdressers. So just a little story. I went to the hairdressers and they said to me that there's about 5 or 6 people or something that I had to wait for, and I said, look, I waited for about 3 months and my hair looks like a mop, so I think I waited for over an hour or something for just these haircuts. But yeah, it just feels a lot cleaner, a lot lighter and everything like that. It doesn't make me look any younger, but still it looks a bit cleaner, so that's all I can do these days, look a bit cleaner. I can't look any younger. So but I was just doing with the Covid-19 update. It's not like great news or anything like that. No, there's no real changes or anything. Some of the changes are going to happen maybe mid next week and maybe a little bit more maybe next Sunday as well, I think, because when I spoke about some of those, a couple of people or something, I think at an Islamic school in the northern suburbs, tested positive and all the rest, that they've been sent home for 3 days or something. I thought it was 2 weeks, but it's for 3 days. But because there's like 500 students or something there, well, they've all been sent home just in case, and of course that includes like teachers and things and all the rest and everything. So there's another close school to that as well, which I think has been put into quarantine as well, so they're just waiting for the test of those. And they'll be, because they're being quarantined, they won't be out in the community. So, and because they're linked to a cluster, things should be okay, because they can trace everything back, rather than what we've had, the problems that we've had in Victoria, in Melbourne, that it was community transfer, that's what's caused most of the problems. So, but they're just waiting for the results, and we'll see what happens. But they also, I think, over in the western suburbs, I think it could be over near Werribee or something like that, I'm not too sure, but they found the virus in sewage, so it must have been in maybe a sewage plant or something, where they recover all the sewage and they treat the sewage and all the rest. So I suppose they biologically test sewage all the time for any sort of diseases or anything, but they probably have that capability. But because we have this virus, they're probably now testing for that as well, and they found that in the sewage. So they're a little bit concerned about that, because if that's not really it's not a cluster, and you can't really trace that back to, maybe you can trace it back to a suburbs, but it'd probably be a lot of suburbs, because if you've got one treatment plant in one area over in the western suburbs, it probably treats for like maybe a 30k radius or something, which is absolutely hundreds of thousands of people. So it doesn't mean that hundreds of thousands of people have got it, but it does mean that if these people have got it and it's at low amounts, but they're in the community, then there's community transfer going on as we speak. So I think not only our Premier of Victoria, but our Chief Health Minister of Victoria in Melbourne has a bit of concerns about that. The numbers, of course, have come down to, I think, about 5.5 for the 2-week average rolling percentage as far as new cases are concerned, which is good news, great news actually. And most days now we don't get any deaths, so that's probably the best, because if we do get new cases, at least we can quarantine, and we can keep that away from the public and so forth, and then hopefully, if treatment is needed for these people, whether it be serious treatment or not, then at least they can be treated, and hopefully we're okay, and we don't have any more deaths anymore. Pretty much like 95% of the deaths and everything have all been linked to aged care, so they're saying that pretty much there's only about 5 or 6 people that are on ventilators now in hospitals. So because I've always said that there's always a percentage of people that are on ventilators, you actually get a percentage of deaths from those ventilators, people on ventilators. So they're really low now, and they have been saying that a lot of people each day are coming off ventilators as well, and it's a low amount of people, so it's really great news. But so what we're going to do is we've been told to actually just wait until maybe next Wednesday or something, and then they might do some changes, and of course maybe some more updates next Sunday as well. And the Premier was saying that he knows that it's very difficult for everybody, like he says every day, and he thanks the community, the public people. He thanks the frontline workers, which is like the doctors and nurses and so forth, that are at a greater risk of getting the virus, because they're actually treating the people that come into the hospital. So, and of course all of the mobile stations that we've got around Melbourne as well, for people that can just drive through and have a test without leaving their car. They've thanked all them as well and everything, and he said that he's really quite sorry about how hard it's been for everyone, but he's saying he knows that because it has been hard, that if he does lift the restrictions now, when he's waiting for some of these results to come back, then no one wants to have a third wave, you know. So and talking about second and third waves, my last video, which I did today as well, was I've been getting a lot of messages already from people saying that what's happening in their countries. As you know, when you've got like Italy and Spain and everything, and America is out of control, and England, of course, is going into a second lockdown and all that sort of stuff. But I'll just say it once again in this video. I was watching on TV about what was happening in America, and for a long time now, while this virus has been going, I've been quite surprised that people in America think of their civil liberty and all the rest. Well, everybody in every country thinks of their civil liberties, their civil rights and so forth. But theirs is like, not wanting to wear masks. Some states it's mandatory, and some places it's not. That I don't really understand. For the, like I've said, everyone's got loved ones and everyone's got children and all that sort of stuff. So to go around from state to state and for every state to be different, I really don't understand that. But like in Australia, some of our states are just in different stages, and they've been able to link most things back to clusters and everything, so they've been quite lucky, whereas Melbourne has been unlucky. When we thought everything was okay, things was actually in the community, and so we didn't know. I mean, these people were travelling to work, and they were travelling over the borders as well, so that's why we had so much problem with ours. But when I was listening to America, there's no restriction, doesn't seem to be any restrictions. And when I spoke about there was like restaurant owners and all the rest that seemed to be worried now, thinking, well, we can't go and have people in our restaurants and everything. Maybe we might have to do some outdoor dining, and only a little at that. So I thought that other countries around the world was actually doing this already, exactly what Australia was doing, and I know that they've been fantastic in Thailand, and they've got their numbers down, and so proud of what Thailand's done. It's just been brilliant, as well as New Zealand as well has done quite well. So, but I mean, even New Zealand had like 3 months or something with no cases, and then all of a sudden they had like half a dozen cases, but they were linked to a cluster, so they were lucky. But yeah, with what I'm trying to say is, with this virus being so active and so dangerous and spreads so quickly, I'm just quite surprised that hearing these stories out of places like America, where they're just not wearing masks, freely going to work. They're worried about their civil liberties rather than anything else. They're gathering in protests on the streets. I mean, a lot of countries are doing that, but they're not social distancing. They're doing, going around in most states and everything and this can spread the virus, and the problem is that it's the community spread as well. So you know, I just hope that they get a hold of these sort of things in each country, because we've had some of the same problems as well, where we've had some silly people here in Australia that have gone and tried to hold mass rallies and all the rest, and the police have tried to shut them down and everything. But the problem is that when these people run away and the police don't catch everybody, then they'll go to work, then they could shut that workplace down, and all the people that didn't have the virus before now have the virus, and their family have the virus, and then they can't visit their grandparents again, and they can't visit friends anymore, and so on and so on, and it just keeps going. So, and you can't, it's community transfer, so you can't trace it. You don't know how many people you've got out there unless you have people coming forward and getting tested again. So, I really hope that we have a vaccine soon. We have been told in Australia that there's a vaccine that I think I've said before that we've been testing, that comes from England, which we've been testing in Queensland University. They've had a few problems with that, a lot of adverse conditions that you get from them. They've started testing again, but of course Australia also in the same university has got their own vaccine, and they're testing them on humans again, which I've said once before. I think that the virus is going to be around for a long time. It's if other countries are doing stage 1, 2, 3 and 4 like Australia is in lockdown stages, I think it's still we're going to be in some sort of stage of a lockdown, maybe easing of restriction and all the rest, but we'll be in some sort of stage of a lockdown for quite a long time to come. So when I'm talking about the vaccines, the sooner the better that we get a vaccine, because they're saying that maybe the vaccine, that the first one that we get might only be 95% effective. So, but I'm sure pretty much everyone is going to be lined up, and they're going to have their arm ready to get injected in their leg, in their backside, in their arm or anywhere, just to make sure that they're protected, so that everyone can get back to some sort of normality. So so that's not too much to say really. I sort of said everything else rather than just what's happening here in Melbourne, because there's really no changes for the next week. So, but there will be changes soon, and things will ease a bit and everything. And but anyway, I'm just thankful that I've got a haircut more than anything at the moment. So hopefully when the borders open up and everything, and we have a vaccine and other countries are happy with each other, we can travel to other countries and visit people that we love and care about, and hopefully that comes sooner than later. But everyone stay safe, and please subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening.